Gary, thank you so much for your time.
That's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Before we talk about the picture that you sent me, let's talk about the cars. And it's actually one of them that have already been revealed, being Haas, Red Bull, Aston Martin and McLaren as well. What do you make of all those vehicles?
Well, I'll tell you what. First of all, I think it's probably one of the most exciting and anticipated Formula One seasons that I can actually remember. I mean, there's this very briefly, not only did we have an outstanding end to last year's championship, whoever you supported, it was an exciting race, and I think we've never seen anything like that. The fact that we've got so many new regulations and so many new opportunities in Formula One. I think Formula has also been exposed to a global audience like it never has before either. So there's just so much and interest on this Formula One season. And to have seen the new cars, the teams that we have seen being launched so far, I mean, really, it's like they've taken the step into the modern age now. This really fantastic looking cars, and I think it also provides an opportunity for a lot of teams to maybe catch up. Teams like Ferrari, for example, that haven't really been in the race for the last couple of years, to make some massive strides forward. A team like Aston Martin, which was the picture that I sent you. Everybody has a
Is that your preference, by the way?
You know, the car just looked fantastic to me.
It's quite sexy, the Aston Martin, I saw.
Beautiful, beautiful. And it's a team you've got to watch out for. I mean, Lawrence Stroll, his dad, Lawrence Stroll, owns the team. He's been successful in every business he's been in throughout his career. And, they're there to achieve results. So, yes, his son has taken a lot of criticism for being in the seat, saying his dad's a wealthy businessman. That's the only reason why he's there. He is a quick driver, and he does deserve to be in Formula One. But it's a team to watch out. And so far, just from the pictures we've seen, which doesn't mean a lot at the end of the day, but the car does look fantastic.
Mercedes, that's definitely one that everyone's going to be looking out for. Their reveal is coming on the 18th of March, which is next, of Feb rather, which is next week. What do you think we can expect coming from Mercedes?
Well, I tell you, I think Mercedes-Benz, as we know, they dominated the sport in the last couple of years. I mean, we've seen an era where, we've hardly seen domination like this in its history. And Lewis Hamilton has, produced or become one of the greats, the all-time great at Formula One. It's been a fantastic era for them. And the big thing for them is, are they going to be able to carry that form forward? And to be honest with you, I don't think so. I think it's going to be a lot closer, but you've got to expect them to be up there. They've got the resources. They've been in a position where they can afford to sort of look at things from a different point of view, being where they've been in the last couple of years. So the car's got to be quick. But I do think it's going to be a big fight with Red Bull. And then I'm hoping to see teams like Ferrari, McLaren, Aston Martin in it. But my pick certainly would be for Mercedes and Red Bull again.
Let's quickly pause on the actual cars and talk about the people. Do you think Hamilton is going to be coming back? Of course, there were talks that he might retire or, exclude himself with the entire mess that happened with the final that he had with Verstappen. But recently, I think it was about a week ago, there were talks that he actually might be present.
Well,
What do you think?
I think he's going to be there. And for me, to not have Lewis Hamilton in Formula One would be an absolute travesty. And I think the reason I say that is because you've got Max Verstappen, who's now the current world champion, and Lewis Hamilton. In my mind, they're the two best drivers in Formula One. And if one of them had to leave Formula One, it would take away an opportunity for us as viewers and Formula One fans around the world to witness something very special in sporting history. I mean, this really is two of the finest and two greats going neck and neck at the highest level of the sport. It's not something that we've seen very often, and I hate to lose that opportunity.
Staying with that controversy regarding Michael Masi, Sebastian Vettel as well as McLaren, they actually came out and said people shouldn't judge him on that particular incident. So do you think we can also see him stay as director?
I don't think anybody else would want that job right now. I think that's the problem. So they're going to probably have to keep Michael Masi. But, having said that, in all seriousness, I think they need to readjust the way that they police the races, the way that the race controls the race, perhaps provide him with more assistance to make those decisions. I think the biggest thing in that whole scenario was the fact that we could hear all the radio communication between the team, the principals and Michael Masi. And, when you've got 5 laps to go, it's not like a soccer match where, if we've got injury time and we can stop the clock sort of thing, or we're going to gain laps back. We don't have that opportunity in motor racing. So things were happening fast. And listen, the right or wrong call was made, but it happened how it happened. But I don't think he's done a bad job in totality since Charlie Whiting passed away a couple of years back. So I would have to stick with him. If it was me, I'd stick with Michael Masi and give him more assistance to do his job better.
So quick one, but before we go, for our viewers at home who might not know, I want to ask you 2 questions in one. One, what makes a good race car? And 2, I spoke to the testing that's going to be taking place in Barcelona and Bahrain. Can you take us through some of the key points that they look out for when they do testing when it comes to these vehicles?
So the big thing with any car is to get the tyres to work properly. And I think this leads on to the next question that you asked me about the testing now in Barcelona and Bahrain. it's going to be a lot of new, it's new ground for everybody. They're on the 18-inch tyre, which they haven't had now. They've been on the 13-inch tyre for the last, well, ever since I can remember, 30 years, whatever it may be. It's entirely new. So the whole idea is to get these cars to work on the tyre. So there's a saying in motor racing that goes like this: you can't go motor racing without two things. It's your sponsors and your tyres. If you don't have those two in order, you're not doing anything. So the whole objective about getting a car right and getting the aerodynamics right, the suspension right, is to get the four tyres that are in contact with the road to work as best as you possibly can.
I know he's out the game, and I know we need to go. Michael Schumacher or Lewis Hamilton?
No one has seen domination like Lewis Hamilton, like we saw with Lewis Hamilton. In my mind, Lewis Hamilton is one of the greatest people to have ever sat in a Formula One car.
Maybe it's an emotional decision for me. I still love Michael Schumacher.
So do I. And it's always difficult because it's different eras and you can't really compare. But of late, you've got to go with what's on paper.
Gary, thank you so much for coming in. It's lovely having you here.